Well, hello guys, welcome back with me, Luciano Dianda. Today we are going making podcast. But before we start, I will introduce my sister. Her name is Andrea.
Hello, I'm Andrea.
Okay. Um, for the first is for the first question is, what are your plans right after graduation? Job seeking, further studies, or something else?
For me, I had focused on job hunting first, then maybe applying broadly while keeping an eye out for opportunities that match my field of study. Then consider further studies later if needed.
Oh, so you taking another opportunity? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Maybe for the next question is, how do you feel? How do you decide between pursuing a master degree immediately or gaining work experience first?
Work experience often helps clarify what you actually want to specialize in. Many people find a master's more valuable once they know their career direction rather than jumping straight into more school.
Okay. So, what skills do you think we are essential to develop before entering to the workshop, the to the working?
Alright. The skills maybe like a communication, adaptability, basic digital literacy, and practical skills relevant to your field. Many graduates find soft skills matter as much as technical knowledge in their first job.
So you must making a soft skill, another soft skill, right?
Yes, I will find it.
Mm, so how important is networking in finding your first job after graduation?
That's so very important for me. A large percentage of jobs are filled through referrals and connections rather than public posting. So building relationship during internship or student organization really pays off.
Okay. Do you think person's major always determines their future work or career?
Well, not always. Many people end up in career unrelated to their major, especially as industries evolve and transferable skills become more valued than specific degrees.
Okay. So what is the biggest fear of challenging fresh graduates usually face, or you must to feel it?
Uncertainty about direction, financial pressure, and competition in their job market are common. The transition from structured school life to open-ended career planning can feel overwhelming.
Okay. How do you handle rejection during the job application or process?
Uh, Treating each rejection as feedback rather than failure helps. Reviewing what could be improved in the application or interview, and continuing to apply rather than getting discouraged after one setback.
Okay. I will ask some question again. Should fresh graduate take any job over or wait to find their related job as their studies in university?
It depends on financial circumstance and how long they can wait. Sometimes taking a related to your job to gain experience is smarter than waiting indefinitely for a perfect role that may not exist. Yeah.
Okay, so what role does mental health play in postgraduating planning?
It's significant. The pressure to succeed quickly can cause anxiety. So, setting realistic timelines and being kind to yourself during the transition period matters as much as career strategy.
Okay, maybe there's some question, but this is a final question.
Ah,
If you could give one piece of advice to someone about to graduate,
mm,
what would it be?
well, maybe stay flexible and keep learning. Your first job rarely defines your entire career. So focus on building skills and relationship rather than finding the perfect path immediately.
Okay, that's it, guys. Maybe before you finding working after graduate, you maybe must to learning some soft skill and others
Yeah.
skills but there will be used at working space. Okay, thank you Andrea for
Yeah,
today
you're
at
welcome.
my podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank
See
you.
you again.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, good night, folks. Tonight, I will making a podcast again. So this is my friend. Her name is Gande. Say hi, Gande, to my
Hello.
viewers. Hello.
My name is Gandis Kusuma Putri. You can call me Gandis or anything.
Okay. So the topic for the podcast tonight is about opinion on smoking in campus area. Okay, Gandis. For the first question is, what's your general opinion about smoking in campus area?
Smoking should be restricted to specific outdoor zona far from academic buildings. Actually, campus are meant to support health and learning, so allowing smoke to drift through. Sorry. So allowing smoke to drift through shared space works against the goals.
So maybe campus allowed students to smoking, but in special space maybe.
Yes.
Okay. So
Not at the campus area, ya guys.
okay. I'm agree with you. So what do you think some students to smoke despite the health risk?
First of all, it's stress relief, peer influence, and habit from before university are common reasons. Smoking often becomes a coping mechanism for academic pressure rather than purely reactional choice.
That's true. Maybe some of us, as a smoker, will smoke. Maybe if they are stressed too much about their paper, maybe we don't know. So that's right. I'm agree. So next question is: do you think secondhand smoke is serious concern on campus?
Yes. Non-smoker walking past smoking areas or sitting near them in open space are exposed to the same harmful chemicals, which is why zoning and distance rules matter so much.
Okay, so for the second after smoker is maybe more dangerous than the smoker it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm agree. I'm agree. So for the next question is, should smoking be completely banned from on campus, or it just regulated?
Regulation trends to be more partial than a full ban. Design design zone respect personal choice while still protecting non-smokers. And outing bans are often hard to enforce anyway.
So maybe the university must make some rules about smoking and
Yes.
make space maybe
Has to be.
has to be all right. I'm agree. So how do you think effective do you current campus smoking policies are?
Many policies looks good on paper, but suffer from weak enforcement. Sign the design are exists, but without consistent monitoring, people simply smoke wherever is are.
Well, maybe there is some students is too brave smoking outside the facility for smoking. Okay, I'm agree. So, what impact does smoking have on the overall campus environment?
Beyond health effect, it affects air quality near entrance, litter from cigarette butts, and can create a unwelcoming atmosphere for people trying to avoid smoke exposure.
Okay. So, do you think university should of over support programs to help students for quit smoking?
Absolutely, guys. Pairing rescission with actual support like counseling or quiet smoke resource is more effective long term than just punishing the behavior without addressing the root cause.
Good. So, for someone who still smoking right now, maybe you should try to stop your smoking, guys, because there is good to your health.
Smoke, stop the habits.
Yes, that's right. Okay, for the next question, how should the campus handle students who repeatedly or ignore no smoking rules?
A tiered approach makes sense. Warning first, the fines or administrative consequence for repeat offenders, rather than jumping straight to harsh penalties.
So maybe the university take small concern with the student.
Yeah.
Okay. So the smoking near canteens or well, maybe classroom bother you as personally?
Yes, of course, guys. It doesn't bother me. Sometimes I can smell the smoke when I'm studying the classroom or eating at the canteen. It can be pretty uncomfortable, especially when the smoke is strong. I don't really have a problem with people smoking, but I think they should smoke in a designated area so it doesn't disrupt other people.
That's true. I'm agree with you. So for the final question, what's one realistic step campus could take to reduce smoking related issues?
Clear sign, more visibility, enforcement, and generally convenient design smoking area. If it's legal, option is far away, inconvenient, people are more likely to ignore the rules altogether.
Okay. I'm finally or totally agree with you on this. Okay, thank you for the coming from you tonight, and see you in another podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, welcome back with me with in my podcast. My name is Solusiano Deandra, and today I with my friends. His name is Fatur. Hello, Fatur.
Hello.
Say hi to my viewers. Okay, Fatur. Today, I will asking you your opinion about policemen in our country or Indonesia. Okay, for the first question is, what's your general idea or perception of Indonesian police officer? Sorry.
I think generally seems important for maintaining public order and talks profession varies widely depending on personal experience, region, and specific incidents report in the media.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think motivates someone to become a police officer in Indonesia?
Okay, a desire to serve the community, job stability, and in some case family tradition. Too many officers said wanting to make a thinkable difference in public and safety as the main motivation.
Okay, I know. So, what's in your opinion?
Mhm.
What makes the job of police officer in Indonesia is particularly difficult?
Balancing environments duties across a vast, diverse country with limited resources, managing public expectation and navigating a situation where trust has been previously damaged by past incidents.
Okay, I'm agree with you. So, do you think the image of office policeman or Indonesian police over the years?
There has been visible reform effort and community policing initiatives touch public opinions, preventing speech, and improvement often depends on specific regions and recent high-profile cases.
Okay, for the next question, what qualities do you believe are most important for a police officer to have?
Uh, Maybe integrity, passion,
That's right.
fairness, and strong communication skill, especially the ability to escalate situation calmly rather than relying solution and authority.
So maybe, in my opinion, communication skills is for the first place for
Right.
being a policeman in Indonesia. Okay. For the next question is, how do you think technology has changed policing in Indonesia?
I think maybe body cameras, digital reporting system,
Okay.
and social interest, transparency, and accountability, touch implementation, and consistently still very different area.
That's right. So, what's your idea of an ideal relationship between police and the community?
Okay, one built on mutual trust, where officers are seen as a responsible helper rather than purely informed, and this usually requires consistent positive interaction over time, not just during emergencies.
That's true. So, do you think Indonesia police receive enough training or handling public interaction?
This is often debate. Many argue to former comprehensive training in communication and the escalation alongside the technical legal training to officer already resigned.
Okay. So, how important is it for police officer to be involved in community programs in your opinion?
I think very important and participation in local even youth programs and or like board or trust help humans the force and build trust outside or just performance moments.
That's true. Okay, for the last question, Ahmad Fatur Rahman. What's one change would you suggest to improve public perception of Indonesian policemen?
Okay, greater transparency in handling micro conduce case and consistent follow trucks and on accountability, visible, fair, and consistent for wrongdoing trend to rebuild trust more than promotional campaign alone.
Okay, I'm agree with you because maybe for the policemen in our country have to build trust again to our community. Okay, Fatur, thank you for tonight for being guest to in my podcast. Okay, hi.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, hello guys, welcome back with me, Luciano Riandra, and today is my last podcast, and today our guest star is Tita. Say hello, Tita, to my viewers. Okay, for today our material about the podcast is why did I check the remedial test? So Tita, do you have any question?
Okay. Why did you have to take a remedial test?
Okay, usually it's because my score on the original exam fell below the passing threshold in one or two areas. A remedial test gives a gives a chance to prove understanding of that specific material without retaking the whole area or the whole course.
Okay. How did you feel when you found out you needed a remedial test?
For the first time I feel it is very disappointment, of course, and relief. Disappoint about not passing the first time, but relief there was a second chance instead of an automatic fail.
Okay. What do you think caused you to not pass the first time?
It's a common reasons. Sorry, include not fully understanding certain concept, poor time management during exam preparation, or simply being unfamiliar with the exam format used by that particular instructor.
Okay. How did you prepare differently for the remedial text compared to the first attempt?
Okay. Maybe focusing specially on weak areas identified from the first exam. Reviewing feedback if available and often studying with more structure or asking classmates or lecturers for clarifications on confusing topics.
Okay. Do you think remedial texts are the fair system?
I think yes, generally they will give students a genuine opportunity to demonstrate learning rather than being permanently paralyzed for one bad exam performance, which can happen for many reasons unrelated to actual understanding.
Okay. What did you learn about yourself from helping to take a remedial text?
It often reveals gaps in study habits or time management, prompting better preparation strategies for future exams rather than just cramming right before the test.
Did the remedial text cover the same material or was the difference?
Maybe it's cover similar core material, but maybe presented differently. Different question, sometimes a different format to genuinely take understanding rather than memorize answer from the first exam.
How does taking a remedial text affect your overall grade or review?
This varies by institution. Some average the two scores, others simply require a passing remedial score to continue. So it's worth checking specific school policies since it does impact final GPA calculation differently.
What advice would you give to someone who just found out they need a remedial fix?
Maybe don't panic. Treat it as a second focus opportunity rather than a failure. Review specifically what went wrong the first time and seek help early rather than waiting until close the rest date.
Has taking a remedial take a change how you approach studying for future exams?
Yes, oftenly it leads to better preparation habits, starting review earlier, asking questions during lectures instead of failing, and taking practice tests more seriously to catch weak spots before the actual exam.